Hey there, focus learners, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to dive into this one with you. So today we're tackling a massive foundational question about the reality we're all navigating right now. In the AI era, why is it absolutely crucial that human thought becomes visible, explainable, and expressible? We hear so much chatter about prompt engineering and just figuring out how to squeeze better answers out of machines. But the material we're looking at today completely flips that script. It argues that real collaboration doesn't actually begin when the AI spits out an answer. It begins the moment our own hidden thoughts become visible.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for this journey of a thought. We're going to map out exactly how we move from a totally hidden internal intention to a fully human-owned direction. We'll kick things off with the collaboration barrier, jump into the AI mirror, look at correction as visible judgment, build a scientific thinking bridge, and finally, put the whole thing to the ownership test. Let's get right into it.
Part 1. The collaboration barrier. To kick things off, we really have to pinpoint the core problem that leaves so many of us feeling completely stuck in this weird, generic, transactional loop with AI.
Listen, there's a fundamental barrier between the human mind and the machine. And it really boils down to this. AI does not read minds. I know, shocking, right? But seriously, it cannot access your hidden intentions. It doesn't feel your vague intuition, and it definitely can't guess your unspoken meaning. It only reads the structures, the specific language, and the constraints that we actively give it. If a human thought just stays locked up inside your head, well, it simply cannot collaborate with AI. It's a one-sided street.
And that brings us to a huge paradigm shift. The old way, and honestly, the way most people are still operating, is treating AI like a giant answer machine. You know the drill. You ask for an artifact, you sit back like a passive consumer, and you get this external, totally disposable output. But the new, necessary paradigm, that's treating AI as a thinking practice environment. In this model, the goal isn't just to get a file generated. The goal is expressing a thought. You have to become an active judger, and the output actually becomes something you own and can run with. That right there is the decisive skill for the AI era.
Moving right along to part 2, the AI mirror. Let's see how this all builds when we actually try to bring our hidden thoughts out into the light.
Unformed thought is honestly just like a cloudy haze. It starts out as this vague intuition, maybe a bit of curiosity, or just partial meaning. Sure, it feels very real to you, but it isn't clear yet. So expression is that crucial first step. It's the act of giving that blurry cloud a visible form. You do this through language, by giving it titles, setting constraints, or building structure. Until you force that messy, unformed thought through the bottleneck of expression, you literally have nothing to collaborate with.
And then, boom, we hit the magic moment. Once you finally express that thought, the AI responds. But here is the absolute secret sauce. That response acts as a mirror, and it creates a mismatch gap. Seeing the AI's draft suddenly reveals all your own internal instabilities and unspoken assumptions. It surfaces the gap between what you actually intended and what you originally said. You look at the screen and go, wait, no, that's not quite what I meant. And honestly, that realization means the mirror is working perfectly.
Which leads us straight into part 3, correction as visible judgment. Now, when we see that mismatch, we step into what is probably the most misunderstood phase of human-AI collaboration.
So many people have this idea that if you have to correct the AI, well, your prompt must have failed or the machine messed up. We need to completely flip that script. Correction is absolutely not a failure. Correction is the exact moment where your human judgment becomes visible and inspectable. Think of it like a giant funnel. It's the exact filter that takes your vague, cloudy ideas and refines them into razor-sharp directions.
Think about how incredibly powerful these specific phrases actually are. When you tell an AI, no, this isn't exact, or you completely missed the core here, you are externalizing your hidden standards. You're building a bridge between that vague hunch you had and a concrete, clear direction. If you didn't have the AI's mirrored response to push back against, those judgments probably would have just stayed totally unspoken and unrefined in your own head forever.
And here's the ultimate payoff. Through that repeated correction, your thought resolves. It transforms from a fuzzy, undefined cloud into a sharp, stable, and completely clear structure. The AI didn't do the thinking for you. No way. It just provided the necessary resistance, the friction, so your own thought could take a solid shape. By the end of it, you actually understand your own idea way better than you did when you started.
All right, part 4, the scientific thinking bridge.
The really cool thing here is that this exact loop, taking the invisible, making it visible, testing it out, refining it, it isn't some brand new invention.
Think about the scientific method. Science is literally the practice of taking invisible ideas and converting them into visible, stable forms that we can examine and test. Well, in the AI era, this kind of scientific thinking needs to become your daily collaboration skill. You're not just casually chatting with a bot. You're essentially acting as a scientist for your own mind. You have to define, test, inspect, correct, and explain your thoughts so the AI can actually help you build them out.
Let's break down these parallels for a second because they are so powerful. When you've got a vague intuition, stating it to the AI as a hypothesis makes it visible. It makes it testable. If you have a fuzzy concept, establishing strict definitions makes it stable enough to actually work with. And if you have hidden logic tangled up in your head, asking the AI to build a model out of it makes the underlying structure something you can inspect. You are literally applying the rigor of science to your everyday inner thoughts.
And that brings us to part 5, the ownership test. We are at the final destination of our explainer. We've expressed the thought, used the mirror, applied scientific rigor, but who actually owns the final product?
I want you to be totally honest and evaluate your daily AI interactions right now. When you get a really great output, are you genuinely building your own capability, or are you just outsourcing your thinking to a machine? Because look, if you can't explain it or confidently continue the work yourself, that thought doesn't belong to you. It's really just a shiny file sitting on a screen.
To know for absolutely sure, you have to run it through the 4 pillars of the ownership test. Number 1, can you explain the why behind the direction, like why a specific correction was needed? Number 2, can you revise the structure beyond whatever the AI first gave you? 3, can you continue developing the work totally independently without losing the core meaning? And 4, can you judge the final direction based on your own authentic standards? If you can nod yes to the whole shebang, congratulations. You've turned an external structure into a genuine, human-owned capability.
Let's just zoom out for a second and look at this entire journey we just went on. We started with a completely hidden thought. Through expression, we forced it into the light. The AI gave us a mirror to spot the mismatch. Human correction let us apply our visible judgment. That led straight to a clearer thought, and finally to an owned, rock-solid direction. The AI functioned perfectly as a practice environment, not just a vending machine for answers.
And this perfectly captures the core thesis of all our source material today. AI can definitely respond to express thought, but the human has to put in the actual sweat and practice of expressing it. In this new era, we don't become powerful just by getting better answers handed to us by machines. We become powerful by learning exactly how to make our own thought visible, explainable, and expressible.
Which leaves us with our final ultimate takeaway. The deepest practice isn't about memorizing which buttons to click or learning some generic trendy prompt hacks. The real practice is learning how to think with so much clarity that the AI can actually collaborate with the real, authentic thought going on inside your head. So I'm going to leave you with a question to chew on. What hidden, unformed intention do you have right now that you need to start making visible today? Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer. Focused learners, keep practicing, keep expressing, and I'll catch you next time.